Tales and Proverbs of South Africa. Baboon and Hare. The sun rose red above the plains, its heat stretching long fingers over the tall, dry grass that shimmered like beaten gold. The land was vast and silent, broken only by the hum of cicadas and the distant calls of birds. In this open wilderness lived Hare and Baboon, two companions bound by mischief and rivalry, though neither would ever say it aloud. That morning, Hare sat alone in the grass, nibbling at a stalk and humming to himself. The wind moved in slow, whispering breaths. Then, sudden as a curse, came the scent of smoke. A spark carried by the wind had fallen upon the brittle reeds, and before Hare could lift his head fully, the grass around him began to hiss and crackle. Fire spread like a living creature, tongues of orange and red weaving through the field. Hare's eyes flashed wide. He darted about, the ground too hot beneath his feet, until he spied a burrow near the roots of an acacia tree. Without a moment's hesitation, he plunged into the dark hole, pressing himself against the cool earth while the fire roared above. He waited. The world outside hissed and screamed. Ash drifted down through the cracks, coating his fur in soot. When at last the sound of burning faded to silence, Hare crept out. The plain was black and still, the air hung heavy with smoke. He stretched, coughed once, then grinned as a trick took shape in his mind. "Ah," he said aloud, brushing his fur, "this will be too good for old Baboon." He rolled himself over and over in the cinders until his white belly and sleek brown back were smeared with ash. When he had made himself a sight dreadful enough to pity, he set off to find his friend. Baboon was lounging on a rock not far from the river, scratching his side lazily and watching the sky. When he saw Hare approaching, covered in soot, tail limp, ears drooping, he leapt up in alarm. "What happened to you, Hare?" he cried. "You look as though the night itself rolled over you." Hare staggered forward, coughing dramatically. "Ah, Baboon," he said in a weak, quivering voice, "you would not believe it. The grass caught fire while I was inside. Flames everywhere, but I put it out with my own saliva." Baboon blinked. "Your saliva?" "Yes," said Hare gravely, nodding. "I spat and spat until the flames died. Look for yourself. See the ashes on my fur. See how I suffered." Baboon peered closer, frowning. Hare's fur was blackened, his whiskers dusted with gray. Around them, the charred plains still smoked. The smell of burned reeds clung to everything. "You mean to tell me," Baboon said slowly, "you spat upon a fire and lived?" "I did," Hare replied, lowering his voice to a hush. "And it obeyed me. I have the strength for such things." Baboon crossed his arms. "I do not believe you." "Believe or not," Hare said, shrugging as he turned away, "it matters little. But if I were you, I would not speak so loudly of what I cannot do." That pricked Baboon's pride. His chest swelled. "I can do anything you can do, Hare." "Then prove it," said Hare, with a sly gleam in his eye. Days passed. Then one afternoon the wind grew sharp again, and the scent of burning drifted over the plain. Far off a new fire leapt from hill to hill, bright and fierce. Baboon saw it from the rocks where he sat and remembered Hare's boast. He bared his teeth in determination. "If Hare can spit upon fire, then so can I," he said, puffing out his chest. Hare, who was watching from a distance, hid a smile behind his paw. "Ah, my brave friend," he murmured, "let us see the power of your tongue." Baboon ran toward the burning field, smoke curling around his face. The heat hit him like a wall, but he pressed on, squinting through the glare. When he reached the edge of the fire, he spat, once, twice, again and again. Each droplet vanished in an instant, swallowed by the flames. He spat harder, furiously, until his mouth went dry and his eyes stung with smoke. Still, the fire roared. Hare watched from a safe distance, his heart beating between laughter and pity. "Baboon," he whispered under his breath, "turn back." But Baboon would not yield. He spat until his throat burned, until the flames surrounded him in a storm of red. Then, with a final cry swallowed by the wind, he fell. The next morning, the fire was gone. Only ashes remained, stretching far into the horizon. Hare walked among them quietly, his ears drooping now not from play but from sorrow. He stopped where Baboon had fallen. The ground was blackened, the air still heavy with the ghost of smoke. "Ah, my foolish friend," he murmured, bowing his head. "You should have known. Tricks are for those who can run from them." The wind swept over the plain again, stirring the cinders into the sky like drifting ghosts. Hare turned and leapt away, his small form vanishing into the morning light, while the lamb behind him lay silent and still, marked forever by the folly of pride and the sting of deceit.